Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I think this is our fourth episode of Burns and Holla. It's been a lot of fun. Obviously, Terry Holloman is my co-host. He'll be along shortly. And then also tonight, you'll remember they still do the show. They do the podcast version. Ron Upshaw from the Ron and Don Show, formerly on Cairo Radio for, I think, over 12 years, 13 years, something like a ridiculously long run. He'll be along, and eventually we'll also have his partner on, Don O'Neill. Both guys really fun to talk to. And then from Cairo 7, our ace reporter here in Seattle, one of our ace reporters, Jesse Jones, is going to join us as well. So all of that is going to happen within the next hour. Again, thank you very much for watching. And a couple of just like plug things to get out of the way if I can. So there's some rules about YouTube before you can get your own customized URL, which would be great. Because if you could just have youtube.com/Burns and Holla, that's a lot better than the URL that we currently have, which is just youtube.com/ a bunch of nonsensical letters. So if you are watching this on YouTube, whether you're watching it live or the recording after it's done, please subscribe because we need 100 subscribers. That's one of the rules, 100 subscribers. And then also once we have had our account for 30 days, which I think will happen in about 2 weeks or so, then we get that customized URL, which will really, really help us when we're promoting the show, because we plan on doing this for quite a while. Terry and I have known each other for about 5 years now, and actually when I was first coming back to Seattle, some of the test shows I was doing were with Terry, and you know him best from some of the Seahawks coverage from New Day, which, by the way, congratulations, Margaret Lawson, on your retirement. I somehow missed that. The host of longtime host of New Day. She apparently is. It seems like a lot of local news figures are announcing their retirement as of late. We're going to see some new faces, but if there's ever been a good time to just kind of stop working and do exactly what you want, I can't think of a better time than right now. Oh, there's Terry. Hey, Terry, let me add you to the stream. Hey, Terry, what's up?
Not much, man. How you doing?
How are you doing?
You know me, I'm just working with.
So you got your Wi-Fi issues obviously worked out.
Wi-Fi is corrected. I'm all good in that area. Now I got, the proper, web browser downloaded.
Yeah.
On my MacBook, so I'm good to go.
Can I say that the pictures behind you, which are all of you, I would imagine, right?
No, I got some pictures of strange men on my wall.
Are better than any of the pictures that I could dig up from my past.
Well, I'm fortunate. I have a better half that actually did this for me. I didn't do that
great.
myself. So yeah.
Yeah. So you have like your little. It's kind of like a little tribute to Terry room.
It is.
I like it. Yeah.
It's my Zen room. It's where I get my mojo back when I'm feeling bad about myself.
Right.
I come down here and remember, like I used to at one time have.
I used to do things. Yeah. Right.
That's it. There's a method to the madness, brother.
No, I get it. Jesse's here. I'm gonna add Jesse to the show. Hey, Jesse.
What's happening, y'all?
How you doing?
Good.
Jesse from Cairo 7. He's their investigative report. Jesse, I wanted to ask you. We're gonna get into CHOP, coronavirus, everything. So your stories for most of the time have been kind of going after government waste or some sort of consumer issue someone has. In the era of COVID / every other thing that's happening right now, how has your job changed?
Well, understand, if you even take a look at what's going on with the unemployment situation, the scammers are out there. And anytime there is uncertainty, that's when scammers know to pounce. People are more worried about their payments coming in. They're worried about their health. Their attention is drawn elsewhere. And so when that happens, if I'm a scammer, now's the time to strike. And this is what they're doing. So, in fact, our job has gotten, we're busy. We're busy.
Yeah, you are.
You would think that now that business is shut down, that we wouldn't be doing anything. The scammers are keeping us quite busy. Also, there's one more thing.
Yeah.
People have time now. They're sitting in their house and they're looking at all their bills and stuff. They're like, man, I never got this product. I spent the money on this. This didn't happen for me. That didn't happen for me. So when folks used to let stuff, they used to just like blow it off.
Right.
They were sitting in the house all damn day long. Now they're like, no, I'm going to call somebody. So they're calling me. So
one thing no one is short on is time right now. We all have time.
Exactly. Exactly. So the first thing they want to do is call me, call our team, and try to fix things. Also, money is so tight right now.
Yeah.
That if there is any kind of situation with any kind of money, I mean, $50 is a lot. It's not.
It is.
People are just letting that go. When you were getting a paycheck every week,
right?
$50 versus the time I have to spend an hour on the phone. I don't have. Nah, man, just forget it.
Yeah. Now you're absolutely, and I'm one of those people, Jesse, that is owed a lot of unemployment, and I have yet to see a dime.
That unemployment thing is about the craziest scheme I have ever seen. And to this day, this is what gets me. You talk about your friend who's waited months for a payment. I'm still trying to figure out how these scammers were able to get their checks before these folks.
Right.
And my whole thing is this. No one's saying anything. I mean, everybody knows there's a federal investigation going on. There's this group called Spotted Canary that's a group of Nigerians Nigerians out of where? Come on.
Nigeria.
Okay, all right.
And so
we can pause for a second here. Ron is here. I'm going to add Rod to the conversation.
Oh, okay.
Ron Upshaw in a professional looking environment.
Yeah, I thought we were doing a radio show. I brought my own microphone.
We're gonna change your name to Ron Upstage.
Jesse Jones.
All right,
I'm up there on the mic. I'm up on the mic, and then Michael Jackson comes walking in right behind you.
How come the white guys have to be on this side of the screen and the black guys are on that side of the screen? Is this a platform racist? What's happening?
Hey, it's like we're at the Villages.
That's right.
I need to have some cooler stuff behind me because I have my fridge.
Right.
That's my bathroom. Terry's got a picture of him playing for the Huskies. You've got an electric guitar. I really need I need to present myself as a cooler person than I am right now.
There you go. What do you guys? What's cracking? I think I logged in halfway and didn't realize I had to finish up all the way. But I caught the last part of your unemployment conversation.
Yeah. So Jesse, as obviously that's his beat, kind of been looking into that. And honestly, I'm still feel like I don't have even close to the full story.
We
exactly.
Don't.
Yeah.
We don't. No one does. And that's the problem. That's the problem. I think I mean, I understand it's under investigation, but I think people deserve more of an explanation. Again, how these bad guys were able to trick the system so they got paid before honest, upstanding people who haven't received checks in months. How does that happen? What did they know that no one else knew? And the fact that we're not being given those answers is, I think, a slap in the face to all of the people who have worked. Now, understand, you work, that money comes out of your check, right? That has worked, your employer is paying for it, and next thing you know, you're out. And I mean, some of these people now are getting tied up where money is being somehow dumped into their checking accounts, and now people's checking accounts, through no fault of their own, are being shut down for good.
Yes.
And we're working on a story like that is different than the rest of them. And it's about a man who he was a dentist, had a practice for 30 years with this bank. And he wasn't even really, he was like peripherally involved. And they took his bank account and shut it down and said, you can't. This guy was a dentist for 30 years. His wife, his kids, everybody banked through Chase. Boom.
Can I just say one thing? Jesse Jones.
My man.
You're on the case.
I do feel better knowing that you're going after it. Like I think that unemployment pays out on like Thursday. So every Thursday I have this withering hope that I'm going to look and it's going to be the money I've been owed from the past, but still is yet to show up. So Jesse, did they were defrauded of about, what was the total amount of money that?
Yeah, we'll never know. I mean, they admitted 300 million.
It's millions.
300
million. Because I saw today they got some back. They got 300 million back. I don't know how.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the deal. They're clawing it back, and sometimes now people are finding out that the state wants money back from them when they never got it in the first place.
Right.
So now there's that issue. So you're claiming you clawed back 300 million, but really,
the biggest thing to me on this, and maybe you can do this as a different angle, Jesse, is they never. These state organizations, when there is outsized demand for any task, they never hire extra people. Mm-hmm. So I sit there and it's like, whether it's unemployment or you're trying to get a permit or you're waiting in line at the DMV or any sort of social service, it's like in any other business in America, if you're at the grocery store and there's 25 people in line, they open a new register.
Right.
Or and they go, hey, maybe our store's not right. Maybe our store's not big enough. Maybe we need to make this bigger. If you're at the unemployment, you're like, well, we have 16,000 people waiting in line. Should we hire more caseworkers? Nah, we got it. We'll just make everybody wait.
The unemployment office literally said, just stop calling us. We'll call you when we get around to it.
Didn't they have a system where like they would stop taking phone calls altogether? Like,
they did.
Yeah, I've heard everything.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you name it, it's happened. I will give the state this. Everybody got caught flat-footed with COVID.
There's plenty of capable people able to work right now, though. Plenty of capable people able to work right now.
I will give them that. I can't give them not having a computer system able to verify good people versus bad people.
Right.
Okay. And that's your stopgap. That's number one. Number two, we need some transparency here. And I think people were really slow with getting the information out. And the information people were getting out really wasn't adding up to much. And remember, people are trying to worry about putting food in their kids' mouths. I am so scared for when these moratoriums end, the eviction moratorium and all this stuff, when people are going to have to come up with 3 months, I believe now, 3 months of rent.
I'm moving in with Terry. Have you seen his spread? He's got a barbecue grill out back. He's got a huge yard.
Well, I've been to Terry's crib.
I'm moving in with Terry.
I'm taking tenants. I'm like Orphan Annie.
As long as I can put my food order in, I know you're going to be manning the grill. I'm good with that.
You got to work for your supper.
You got plenty of mow out there, bro.
That's right. That's right. So if you're a vegetarian, you good. Just go out in the yard and graze.
All right, let's talk about CHOP. We sort of, it's the last few days of CHOP. I don't know what's that going to look like exactly, if they're just going to kind of disperse on their own, or if there's going to have to be, you can see if you listen to Chief Carmen Best talk today, that she's just kind of at her wit's end with it after another deadly shooting there. CHOP as a social experiment, what were you optimistic that it was going to turn into something good initially when they first took over the precinct, or like me, who has covered movements like this before, Occupy is the example I always use, this was the inevitable like outcome. This is how it was going to end. Terry, start with you.
I'll be honest with you. I was never convinced about CHOP and what their motives were. You know, it felt like to me that it was the Black Lives Matter movement, which was the catalyst for everything that happened in the country and supposedly at CHOP, right? I felt like it was a movement that had been co-opted and actually taken over by people who wanted basically anarchy, who wanted to have their own autonomous zone. I don't think it was about the Black Lives Matter movement. I still don't to this day believe it is about that movement right now. I'm sure they painted some murals and they sang some songs and put up some things and said, hey, we want to defund the police and for Black people. There's not enough Black people in Seattle for you to defund it to, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's some things, there's some good, some good things that are being thrown about and bandied about. But I just think that the whole thing has taken a complete left turn from where it was originally the intent of the march and the protest was. And that's where we are right now. And it's just gone beyond control. And then somebody's going to have to go and get their arms around that thing.
Yeah. Jesse?
So you're having a party at your crib, and you got those last 6 guys that won't leave. What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
You start to like exaggerate your yawns, like, oh man, I am tired. Right? Yeah, and they don't get the message.
You can't try to bust them up to get them out. You're going to ruin your own crib.
Right.
Right.
Right. What are you going to do? You're going to call your uncle and have him come down and try to be. No. My problem is exactly what Terry said, is that it feels as if they rode in, they kind of got the credibility of Black Lives Matter, and now they're spending that capital, and it's capital they don't have. These are these are worthless checks, man. This is monopoly money they're spending, and they came in on good credit, and I think day by day that erodes. And I think people will still remember who let them in. And that's kind of my problem, is that the Black Lives Matter movement has been so powerful and so honest and so upfront that when this happens, even though people don't know, I think a lot of us are trying to convince a lot of people on the outside, right? You have that certain percentage of people are just like, forget Black Lives Matter, I don't care. And then you have other folks who are like, yes, I'm down for it. You're talking about that 15, 20%. You're trying to influence those guys to go one way or the other, right? And you want those guys to come, the undecideds, you want to come to you. Well, it's really hard, because if they're taking a look at it and they might not be as educated on all of this, and I don't blame them, they're just not. First time into the whole civil rights game, right?
Right.
And now they see this.
Yeah. And
now they have their friends from wherever tell them this CHOP thing is all about Black Lives Matter. They're not sure. They don't know. It's just hard for me.
Well, see, I have a different take on this, and I want to point this back at Terry and Jesse, because what I saw that I found interesting is you have a gay female mayor and a Black female police chief that are presented with a scenario where there's only a couple things you can do. One, you can release the hounds. You can say, all right, this is not happening in my city on my watch. We're gonna put an end to this right now, day one. And then they thought about that for a second, and this was a historically marginalized neighborhood in a lot of different ways. They said, you know what we're gonna do? Let's do something different than every other police chief has done and almost every other mayor has ever done in this scenario. The people want the people in the streets. They want cell phone cameras. They want cell phone footage of police officers in riot gear. They want cell phone footage of rubber bullets being fired and tear gas and mace being fired. And so in my mind, I saw a strong Black woman step up and go, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to go the other way, because it's not like that was a huge jail. That's sort of, for people that don't know, that particular thing, when they say, oh, it's the precinct, it's not it's kind of a strip mall, glorified strip mall police station. We've all seen these at the mall or at the library or whatever. There's cops there, but it's not a jail. It's not a full police station. It's a hub. It's a little spot that had like residential above. So in my mind, you had a couple of women that said, let's do this differently and see the outcome we get. And as Black men, how do you view what Carmen Best did?
Jess, you want to go ahead? I'll tell you like this, and it go back to the comedian Dave Chappelle once said, "Don't ever be the first black anything."
Yeah.
Don't ever be you can be the second or the third. Don't be the first one, because you're gonna get the finger pointed at you for everything. Like, and that, you either go too far or you don't go far enough. So I think what happened was they were kind of put in almost, in my opinion, a no-win situation. But just before we go that far, I want to ask you all this question, though, because this has kind of been bantied about through some of my associates and friends on social media in the Black community and in community at large as well. Some Black people are, I'm not really a conspiracy theory type of guy, but what do you think about the idea that maybe they did this as okay, you want to defund the police? So here you go, have at it, anarchy. And then let the people destroy themselves. Let them have shootings and don't allow fire and rescue to get in and help the shooting victims. Don't allow the authorities to get in and police the area when this violence is going on down there. And they say, oh, see what happens when you defund the police? Mm-hmm. Now, do you want us back in the building? Okay, now it's going to cost you.
I think there's validity to that, in the sense that the cops were called to a situation where that was created because the people who created it wanted to defund the police. And let's point out that there are two defund the police conversations happening right now. There's the reasonable defund the police conversation, which again, that's just such bad branding, defund the police, because that just sounds like you're taking all the money away. Where we put more money into social workers, where we don't ask officers to do as much as they're doing right now. But in CHOP, if you listen to their list of demands when they first got together as in that 6-block radius, they literally wanted to take every penny away from the police. So that was actually what they were saying. So you could see why some officers would be like, well, yeah, let's just let this devolve into chaos.
Well, Terry, to answer your question, I never believe in government conspiracy theories for this reason. They can't even get the first thing right on its face.
No, I don't think it's
having some elaborate behind the scenes machinations going on. They can't even get the front, like the blocking and tackling right. So they're not doing an end around trick play behind the scenes.
I always go back to Watergate. This was pre-internet. The president, who was 40 points up on his opponent anyway, couldn't cover up a stupid hotel break-in. So yeah, the governments are not good at, but I think that I think, Terry, the attitude maybe of the police is definitely accurate the way that you described it.
But if they had gone the other way, we all know the end of that movie. The SPD rolls in their SWAT trucks. They got the riot gear on. Pepper spray starts flying, maybe some smoke bombs, and then you have this group of people on Capitol Hill that are up in their face. Everybody's got their cell phone camera out. They want an altercation to happen, and then that footage goes nationwide with every other police department across America. So the fact that it took a different turn, even though the outcome has not been great, at least we have a sample size of one now of let's try things a different way and see what happens.
Well, you know what's crazy, because in this pandemic, in this world that we live in right now, where a day feels like a month and a month feels like a year, if we go back just a few weeks ago when the actual protests began, we had that situation going on, Ron. Mm-hmm. We had the police, the SPD was firing rubber bullets at people, bursting tear gas, to the point where they had to come out and say, okay, listen, all right, we're not going to shoot tear gas on you anymore, but we're going to give you this pepper spray instead.
Right.
And so we kind of got to that point where it was the military style enforcement of law in Seattle, on Seattle streets. And so we were there. And then, and I think what happened is they went, like you said, like we've been discussing, they went completely opposite in CHOP, and they took away all law enforcement. So, and here we are. So it's like either we were at a point where we had too much and now we have nothing. Mm-hmm. And neither one, and we all know we're all pretty moderate, even-headed people. You can't go completely one way or the other.
Right. No, that's fair.
and those who are left have the least to lose.
I would imagine so.
So that was going to cause a certain amount of pressure on the cops to get these folks out, because the folks before, I mean, they were running for a reason. If you have folks that are entrenched, those are the toughest people to get out and to move.
Yeah.
And I think there are thoughts it could get ugly.
Really
ugly.
Every morning I wake up and worry that, I mean, not just Chop is going to get ugly, but like I was so anxious, and it could not have turned out better, in my opinion, the day of Trump's rally in Tulsa. Like, I really thought this could get horrible. Now, fortunately, it didn't, because it turns out I don't know why K-pop fans are so it's just so clever, but apparently they are, and the turnout just wasn't there. But the whole day leading up to that, when I was like, oh my God, please don't let this be like a day we remember 10 years from now, is like when the world just got even uglier than it is now. And that's kind of how I tepidly consume news every single morning. Like, is yesterday going to be the day that sparks something that, sent this country in a direction that it never recovers from?
Can I say this is a really serious show? Can I lighten the mood?
It's usually not. It's
Terry, are we going to have football this year or not?
Can you talk to me? Moment of levity. I'm coming in with the jokes. Wait a minute.
Bam!
I'm coming.
Am I going to get any college football or not this year? You got to help me out here. What's going on? What's the inside track? What are you hearing?
Over. NFL is done. No NBA. No sports. Just lots
for real.
Even when you try to bring up the fun stuff, it's like
all season. Like, no, are you serious? Like, no, even with no fans, like on TV only.
Listen, man, I don't know. I wish I knew, dude. I wish anybody knew. I mean,
what are the Huskies doing right now? Are they just training on your own?
Yeah, I know. I think they actually reported to do some team training a couple of weeks ago, or about a week ago, week and some change ago.
Can they lift weights?
They've been lifting weights. They've been training together
and running around in shorts and jerseys.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you can do. I mean, right now, because Washington is for the school, they're good. They haven't, as far as I know, they haven't had any players come down with the COVID.
They're not Clemson.
They're not Clemson, but that's what I'm saying. You have a team, guys. What happens if you have a team like Washington that has been relatively safe? No one has COVID, but the season kicks up and your opponents have 20 guys that have COVID. You can't play the game then.
That's what I don't get about any of these seasons. Like, we're seeing baseball players. Mike Leake is not playing. Ryan Zimmerman. There's going to be more than that.
Sure.
So I don't know. See, Ron, this is why it's hard to add levity. It's because even when you bring up something like, we all enjoy, it's like, yeah, but it's probably not going to happen for.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's all right, so let's go back to the slog.
No.
Destruction.
It's hard to escape the slog.
Jesse, you were about to say something first, though.
No, I wouldn't be against sliding the season to January.
Yeah.
I think you could play football in January. Of course, you're not going to want to play Penn State, Iowa State, all those folks.
Utah
in the winter. But it becomes a lot easier to play in the South. And it gives folks to recover and come up with some type of plan against COVID. And then you'll have basketball and football playing at the same time.
Okay, if it was allowed, would any of you go to a Mariner game?
No.
In July?
No,
if you could.
No.
No, I wouldn't.
What if you sat 6 feet away from everybody in the stand?
No.
What if they let?
Mariner season, I actually would, because I'd have the entire right field bleachers to myself.
So,
hey, did you pick another team? Maybe
if they capped it at 5,000 people, would you go to a Mariner game?
I don't know. Another
team. No.
I think I would go. I think I might go to that game.
When do they get 5,000?
Wow, got some Mariner haters up in here.
That's like going anytime.
Okay, let's change it to basketball. If you had an NBA playoff basketball, 5,000 people in a 19,000 seater, would you go?
I'm going. I got a mask. Yeah. I got an N95 mask. I'm going.
Yeah, you're going to go see LeBron play, right?
I'm going to that one.
What about you, Jay? I would go.
Oh man, I'm gonna be dressed like a deep sea diver, but I'm going.
I'm a homebody. Because someone did point out, like,
have any of you been to a restaurant yet? Have any? Because I went to get some sushi, and it was weird. My server had his mask on, but it was over his ears and tilted all the way down, so it didn't cover his nose. It was like, bruh, you're wearing that the wrong way. You got to put it over. So he technically had it on, but that was a little weird. But it was, I mean, it was fine.
Didn't you think it would be a different experience than it was, though, just because we've been locked down for so long? Like, oh, I can't believe I'm back in a restaurant. How great is this?
I kind of like the scanning of the menu thing on your phone. That was fine. That was cool.
What my experience was surreal. It was absolutely surreal. So,
because you're taking 17 people with your family.
Then,
you got a lot of mouths to feed.
That is pretty close to the other surreal part. So we showed up. First of all, I had to make reservations, and I'll say I'm burying the lead here. Yeah. Had to make reservations online, and I could only make reservations for 5. So I thought I'll show up with the 6th one because he's like half a dude anyway. So we got 5.5. So we showed up. And they're like, no, you can only sit 5 to a table. You're gonna have to split up. And we're like, okay, let's do it. So that was number 1. Number 2, we had to make reservations for Din Tai Fung. So I don't know if either of you guys are familiar with it.
Oh, very familiar.
Of course.
There was not a single person in line, which is unbelievable. I know you've never gone there without a line.
Always crazy.
Yeah. You just walked right in and got a table?
You have to make reservations in advance.
Right.
And so not only did we get a table, there was only probably 6 people in the restaurant.
Now, serious question. What is the minimum family dinner for the Holloman clan? Minimum you've ever gotten out of a restaurant for? Under $100?
No, more than that.
I mean, you go to McDonald's, it's going to be $80.
I got it. So since we're talking about it, I'm going to put it out there for you guys. I was really lazy. It was 2 days ago. And I was like, I'm not cooking. I don't feel like going to the store. I'm not getting off the couch. I'm going to Uber. I'm a DoorDash. Chick-fil-A of all things. Chick-fil-A. I ordered some chicken nuggets for everybody. $90, bro. Of chicken nuggets and nothing. French fries.
I'd say your feet can't hit the carpet without spending $200 a day.
I need some money. I need some Nigerian scam artists in my family to help me out.
Right? Why are we not all just scam artists?
Man,
because morality is dead.
And I can't do the restaurant yet. It just has me too freaked out. I'm like an antelope at the river in the Serengeti.
You do takeout though? Will you do takeout?
I'm like waiting for I do takeout, but I'm not sitting there. I'm waiting for
in your car
to come jump on me or something, man. I'm like, I can't eat in peace, man. I cannot eat in peace. I'm worried about somebody breathing on me. I'm worried about somebody come by.
Okay, this might be a tad bit of levity. Has anyone here spoken up when they see someone without a mask? I was going to Home Depot. They had a 6-foot-tall sign that said mask required, and there are 2 dudes posted up sitting on the bottom of the sign with no mask. And I'm like, I didn't say anything, but inside I'm screaming. It's like, you're literally on the sign that says mask required. Like, what is your problem?
Ron, imagine this. I've got a mask on, but when people come around me, they want to go, Jesse Jones.
You brought that on yourself.
Man, I'm like,
that is your fault. Yeah, you should.
I'm just saying it's hard. And I try to mean mug a few people, but I can't mean mug anybody because they're just like, Jesse looked at me mean.
Right. Right. I'm still trying to figure out the logic of how that has morphed into some sort of badge of honor for some circles. Yeah, it's like it doesn't make sense in any universe. Like, even if you're like, I'm going to stick it to the man, I'm a proud conservative, whatever your logic is, it breaks down as soon as you go, oh yeah, 200,000 people are dead.
It's a conservative argument to wear it because it's pro-business. Like, you could come at it from a conservative perspective. If you wear it, that means less people are going to get sick, which means less man hours are going to be, wasted, and more businesses are going to be able to stay open. But there's this weird masculinity test for some dudes
And women, I've seen women do it too.
Yeah, for sure. But I've confronted just one person, and it was
what happened?
It was a guy who he came in and he's like, I bet you wish I had a mask on. Which was just like, I get, why be flippant about it?
You mean despite the requirement from the governor of the state?
And same as you, Ron, like he passes by several gigantic signs that say mask required, and then decides to just kind of, I wouldn't have said anything unless he decided. And
Zach,
I guess this will be the first time, but like, fuck, I said so. Like I got a little outraged because we all have at this point in our 2020 existence, all of us have this, differing amount, but definitely exists in all of us, rage inside of us that we're just waiting to unleash on somebody.
Sure.
And it turned out to be this guy who was, he was just ugly. that like factored into it. Like I just didn't like his face.
Zach, how did he say that to you again? How did he say that?
I bet you wish I had a mask on.
I know. I actually wish I could punch you in your face.
I wish at this point we could all just get a non-guilty verdict on one assault.
Right.
Let us get our yayas out on somebody like him.
How do you corral the teenagers, Terry? Like, because they probably are bored out of their mind, making you bored like crazy. Do they get to see their friends and no mask?
So, in the beginning of the pandemic and the lockdown, we were the sticklers. We were the stick in the mud parents that's like, nah, we're staying home. We're not going to see anybody. We didn't leave the house. We didn't go anywhere.
Dad.
Oh yeah,
Dad.
Yeah. So my daughters are pretty much, they're like trolls. They go in their room and I wouldn't see them. You know what I'm saying? For the most part. But then we would get once as time started going on and some parents started getting a little bit more lenient, I think maybe their nerves were getting worn. Yeah. I would get the mom, Jenna's having friends over and I'm the only one that's not there. And I'd be like, and I turned into, all of a sudden I'm my parents now. I'm not Jenna's parents. Here.
Because I said so. That's why.
You'll jump off the bed.
Terry, are they allowed in the Terry Shrine Room, or is that hallowed ground? That's just you. Gotcha.
No. Jesse, do you have to go to the station? Are they masked up at the TV station?
In fact, I am sitting right here, right now, in my photographer's condo. We've been operating out of here. Katie McDowell, the great Katie McDowell, the one that puts all of the pieces together. I'm here. So I've been operating from here, which is about 2 blocks south of the station.
So you don't go into the station then?
Nah. Nah.
That's probably smart.
That's a great thing.
You know how those TV people are.
It's a great thing. It's a great thing.
Your face and stuff. Ugh.
So what happens? My final question. I'm just absolutely curious about this, Terry. How did you do school? Did everybody have their own laptop and you had music class and history class and English class all going at the same time?
Yes, pretty much. So out here in Snohomish is where I'm at, Snohomish School District. They ultimately ended up having a situation where we all were given laptops for each of the kids. They each
by the school district?
Was that? Yeah, the school district. The whole school district. Yeah, the entire school district. And everyone had different days of classes. The older kids, they pretty much did their own thing. When they needed help, they came to us. But I have a second grader. My son is in second grade, so I was with him each time, and so we had to, facilitate his classroom schedule and issue his reading. Each week he had to read a certain amount of books and take so many reading tests and math tests and do so many writing exams. And I'm dove into it, and I realized how much of an idiot I am.
Yeah, that's what I've been worried about. And once your kids figure out that there's stuff they know that you don't know, that damage is irreversible.
Right. So you just gotta go with it. Like I played it all the way to the end. Like, no, you're the dummy. I'm not.
Right.
The answer, you don't. So it's like, so guys, I don't know how have you guys done Common Core?
No.
Oh no, man!
I'm familiar with it, but no.
Exactly.
Brother,
I've seen some of the weird ways that you're supposed to figure out math problems that it was not the way that I was taught. I know it's really, really controversial, but it seems disastrous.
Jesse can obviously, he knows what I'm talking about.
No, because see, people think I'm smart.
Yeah.
And you give me 12 times 12, 144, but you do it with Common Core, it comes to be like 2012. Yeah. And then your daughter's looking at you like, Dad, he's an idiot.
And here we go.
Yeah.
And then here we go. And so Common Core, I don't know. I mean, it's weird because I remember going to my parents for help and my parents giving me the same kind of knowledge that I was getting from school.
Mm-hmm.
My kids come to me and I can't give them a damn thing. Mm-hmm. I got nothing. I mean, they come to me and my daughter comes to me now for writing and I can help her write some things.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's anything with a number in it, I'm sorry. You're on your own. Daddy loves you.
Do you do a lot of it would be a lot more satisfying if you figured it out on your own just because you actually don't know the answer? That would be a tactic that I would use.
The problem is that you kind of skulk off on your own after you just got embarrassed by your daughter. And you still try to work it out on your own and you can't.
Right.
You can't.
And here's my problem, Jesse, and here's where I came up. So we get the questions, right? And I'd see the thing and I'd be like, okay, answer to that is 35. But I can't tell you how I got to 35. I just know the answer.
Show your work. You got to show your work.
How do you tell an 8-year-old that's 35? Idiot, quit being a dummy, man. It's 35. It's there's 5 barrels with 1 in it. And then I'm like, no, dude, it's just carry the 1 and it's 35.
And quit trying to slide stuff around. It's like an abacus in your brain, man. And it's like, I can't do that, man. I can't do that.
Right.
You put a lot of that into memory and you just know what it is and you spread it out and you tell your kid that you're right, and you know you're right. And I go back downstairs by myself again and then go back in their room. But instead, I don't know a damn thing.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing and it's a little scary.
Yeah.
And then I remember when I would ask my dad questions that he didn't know, he would just get angry. And then I just have to, why is the lawn not mowed? He would just change topics entirely and just assign a new chore.
That's your mom's side. That's your mom's side of the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You just like your drunk uncle. He was terrible at math too.
Right. Objectively, though, do you think your kids are smarter now than you were at their age?
Yeah, I think in certain ways, I think they have access to so much more, man.
Right.
You had to and it's hard to even imagine for those of us that are pretty much in our relative age group, is that if you really wanted to know some information back in the past, you had to have an encyclopedia.
Mine ended with Eisenhower because encyclopedias were expensive. Nobody's buying a new set every year.
Right.
Isn't it weird to think if you didn't know something and no one else in your household knew it either, you just wouldn't know something for a while until you found someone who knew it. That's just if you were just trying to remember, how many home runs did Joe DiMaggio have? Now you could get that.
I don't even know that.
But
imagine though the flip side of that is growing up and not dedicating any brain space to memorizing stupid things because you can just look them up at any time. Like
geography.
So, you just think about it. You never have to think about any of that because you have it at your fingertips 24/7. So you think about other things.
Right.
Like how to build.
There's
what?
There's functional knowledge.
Like your Instagram feed.
And can your kid get from 23rd and Cherry with no money to my house in Mukilteo?
Probably not. Yeah,
probably not.
And that is something I'm not sure my kid could do.
Right.
Yeah, dude, it's gotten so to the point though where I'll know where I'm going and I still use the map on my phone.
I'm the same way, Ron.
It's like I'll use my map going to a place where I already know where it is. And I'm just like,
turn it off until I get there.
Right.
If I see the sign of the place that I'm going, like, oh, there's the Walgreens that I searched. But I don't turn it off until I'm in the Walgreens.
That's how dependent I am on the phone now.
It perplexes me how we used to get anything done. Like,
but it's that functional knowledge and knowing how to get somewhere and deal with all kinds of different people to get somewhere.
I totally
Did you guys do the MapQuest thing where you printed it out and then it was like you had it, in your car and you're going, okay, 2.3 miles.
But then totally, yeah. And then, but it's funny, like there's still some conversations that people have that are completely unnecessary that come from that generation. Like when I used to live in North Jersey and my parents lived in South Jersey, and this was well into the era of GPS and everything. But still, because this is what men used to like talking about, my dad, every time I came home, would be like, so just take I-5? Like it just, there's something satisfying about talking about the route you took. Mm-hmm. And then, every once in a while, I just decided to go 537 this time. He'd be like, oh, how'd that work?
Oh, how was it?
Yeah.
it was great. There were cars. Get some asphalt.
But how many fewer arguments are we having now? Because now arguments can just be solved. Like, again, going back to baseball. Like, no, in 73, this guy had more wins than and you would just argue about it because there was no way to actually find the answer in that conversation. Now we can just look it up.
Yeah, I kind of miss those.
More satisfying, but also I kind of miss not knowing things. Or now, if you ask something, especially like on Twitter, everyone's response is, "Why don't you just Google it?"
Right.
Which is legitimate. This is a legitimate response, but it is kind of sad that you can't just, I don't know, talk about it.
Or you just can't lie about it and make it up. And
no one wants to talk to you about it.
This conversation just start trending really old.
like I remember when I was in second grade and I told everybody that Mr. T was my real dad. But he wasn't.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I wrote a letter to myself that said, "Son, I will come to visit you when we're done filming the 18. Love your dad, Mr. T." I wrote that letter.
And how would anyone prove it wasn't actually from Mr. T? I'm sure he bought it.
It couldn't prove it, but the bad thing about it was my dad was a professional football player, but I wanted Mr. T to be my dad instead.
That's right.
I get that. My dad was a professional hockey player, and I was always, telling people he was a different professional hockey player. It was a little bit better.
I pity the fool that is not my dad.
Man, what's Mr. T up to now?
Man,
I wonder about like certain celebrities. Like, what is Vanilla Ice doing right now?
He's rehabbing houses. Mr. T, I believe, got like a degenerative disease. He almost died, and then he came back, like cancer or something like that.
Jeez.
Mr. T. Someone should Google that.
Yeah, that's true. We can actually find out exactly what he's doing.
But yeah, he got really, really sick.
I didn't know that.
And then he came back. Yeah.
Hey Siri, where is Mr. T? Dang it.
Oh, yeah.
Jesse, you got it. I mean, there must be some
you guys
kinship between you and Mr. T. Do you think he's saying he's tired of saying "I pity the fool" as much as you're tired of saying Jesse Jones?
Oh man, I still remember. I'm old enough to remember when he was throwing midgets down at Mother's in Chicago. It was a bar in Chicago. He was known, right? He was known for picking up midgets and throwing them, and they used to have these
contests
covered, right? Through midgets.
Was this
and he was a bouncer?
This was pre-Rocky.
This is pre-Rocky,
yeah,
right?
And so, and so he used to throw midgets.
Why?
That was
that was his claim to fame. Remember that?
I didn't know that.
Look it up.
I will.
Look it up.
I will, and forever alter my Google search history.
I remember even back in the mid '80s, I was in Chicago in 1986, and I went to Mother's. I'm like, where's Mr. T? Is he throwing some midgets? I'm looking for him throwing some midgets, and he was like, man, no, you keep going. And where are you from? Oh, on the interstate.
That's a hell of a hobby, man. That's a hell of a hobby. But I gotta ask a question to you guys, man, since we're talking about hobbies now.
Yeah.
Has anybody picked up any new hobbies during this COVID-19? I know a lot of people have been trying new things, trying to expand their horizons, trying to do different things to, beat the doldrums. So anybody got anything new?
No, I just did. Speaking of old man stuff, I've been learning how to turn wood on a lathe. In fact, I just finished making a coffee scoop thing. It's in the. You want me to go get it? It's in the other room.
I do want to see it.
I'll go get it.
I want to see your lathe
shop class.
That is, Terry. Every day it's like, why am I not taking advantage of this time that we have? But the only thing I've gotten better at is procrastinating, I guess.
Everybody gotta have something to be proud of.
I just made this.
What is that?
You scoop coffee with it.
You smoke with that?
No. It's like you scoop the coffee grounds up. So I just made that out of a piece of wood.
Wow.
Coffee ground.
Yeah, coffee grounds. Yeah, that actually does look like what you were thinking it was, but so that's what I learned, T. Holla.
Oh, wait a minute. So what do you shape that with what? Like with
a tool, like you take a square piece of wood, stick it on a lathe that spins around, and you go with a little wooden, like a chisel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I learned.
What kind of wood is that? Just by the way, just curious.
I think it's walnut, I believe.
Really, it looks shiny and nice.
Well, I just oiled it, so it's kind of just freshly oiled.
Right.
So there we go. There's my show and tell moment.
I would just sit and look at it and feel satisfied. Like anytime
it is satisfying to make an object,
to create something. Yeah, it's something I've done so few times in my life.
I kind of want to make a cup of coffee now that I got the coffee scooper.
Yeah.
Show us how to use it. Jesse, how about you, man?
Man, I picked up a new ailment. It's called gout.
Oh,
no
Lord.
way.
What?
You got the gout?
You got the gout.
Man, like I said, man, you got to call it the gout. Like gout don't like just to be called gout.
Yeah.
You can break your ankle and gravy came out.
Mr. Gout or the gout?
The gout. D-A-R.
The gout.
Oh, brother.
It's no joke.
It's
brother,
not.
I had no idea.
Killed Benjamin Franklin, baby.
Are your feet all swolled up?
Nah, man, it was my big toe.
Ooh.
Walking around like a pirate for like 2 weeks.
Really?
Oh man, that's terrible, man. That is terrible.
That's
these days. That was like the disease that wealthy, rich kings would get. Gout.
You get too much lobster.
Man, because they eat seafood, right? You can just get me. I was eating. Man, I had some poke. I had some sushi. Like all that week, I had been eating nothing but fish. Mm-hmm. And then I ended the week having a couple bottles of wine.
Oh,
that'll get you.
Fell asleep and woke up like somebody took a nail and a hammer and just pounded that right into my freaking left toe, man. I just got up when it was just like, couldn't believe it. And I was hopping around, then I was on all kinds of drugs. Took 2 weeks, man. 2 weeks.
This officially is old man radio. We talked about our ailments and we talked about what we used to look up when we were in second grade.
Well, I'm about to make it even older.
Uh-oh.
Doesn't it suck, Terry, Jesse, when you have something that is like an uncool ailment like gout? Where it's because I have this thing that flares up every once in a while. That's called piriformis syndrome. And what it means is like there's a nerve deeply embedded in my ass. It gets very irritated sometimes, like when I reach for something weird.
All right, I'm out.
I'm out. There we go.
So
I didn't
sometimes I'll be limping around.
Zach's ass deeply in his ass. When I got the invite for this show, there was no notes that said we will be just going deep inside Zach's ass right now for some irritation.
You knew eventually we were going to get there.
I'm out.
Eventually, every show ends up deep.
I'm limping around, and people are like, "Oh, did you have a motorcycle accident?" I'm like, "No, it's piriformis syndrome." I have to say that.
Man,
I imagine gout similar.
And gout's like CrossFit. It's all you can talk about, right? It's just like my gout.
You just walk up. I got gout. You ever had the gout before?
Pardon?
You just walk up to people and ask them, have you ever had the gout?
Oh man, you see me? You see
me?
Are there
like online gout support groups?
I got gout, man. I got gout. You want to know what gout is? Here's what I'm thinking.
It's a Facebook group, the Gouters.
Weekly Zoom meetings where y'all just show your bloated toes.
Make America gout again.
Here we go again.
Speaking of eating seafood, are we going to wrap it up? Because I got to go eat I got to eat. I'm getting hangry.
Quit trying to rush us, man. We haven't seen you in a long time, Ron.
I know.
Yeah, Ron, how are you doing mentally? I like to end the show on a note of despair. So
I have good days and bad days, mostly trying to keep it positive. Good. But it's been weird.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually, if to have a moment of realness, I don't know how everyone else processed it. I finally crystallized what it was for me. It's that not that I would go to every show or that I would go to every museum or I would go to every restaurant. It's that I could. And so then when you told me that I can't, I actually had this grieving process. And then almost instantaneously, like, yeah, but you're so grateful and you're so fortunate and you have all this stuff going on. And then it goes immediately back to that. So I sort of had to stop down for a couple of days and just like acknowledge that was what it was.
Yeah.
That someone told me that I can't do the things that even if I wasn't going to do it, I knew that I could do it. And I never realized that meant anything to me. Like that's part of living in the city. It's like, oh, if Zach called me and was like, hey, dude, meet me up we'll grab a drink at wherever. It's like, okay, like you could do it.
Right.
But then when it was 100% taken away, I was like, wait a minute. Not that I've ever grabbed a drink with Zach, but I could.
Yeah. For years.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's actually, it's kind of the same way that I've been feeling. It's not like I was ever a socialite or anything, but knowing there's a reason that you live in or near a city so you can experience things like that. And now for them all just to be taken away and slowly coming back.
And there was that thing once or twice a month where you'd be like, I'm going to a show.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm going to go play cards tonight, or I'm going to go to a restaurant I haven't been to or whatever. Like that would happen frequently, where you do that. And then or you're just like, you know what? I really want some fun tonight. And it's like, you got your place. And so you go.
You can do it.
And when they tell you can't, it was a big deal. It is good to see you guys though. I miss all of you.
Yeah. I miss you too, man.
You too, Ron.
Yeah.
Anybody need to plug anything? I don't know. I don't. I mean,
if you need to buy or sell a house, that's what Don and I do now. We work for Windermere.
Yes. And you're still the podcast going strong.
And we still have the podcast, Ron and Don Show. Just search for Ron and Don Radio on the podcast player of your choice. And you can email me, ron@windermere.com. Seriously, if you want to talk about real estate, buying, selling, investing, we're doing a lot of that right now.
Yeah. I'm just glad to know that you guys actually get along. So radio duos usually end up not liking each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's well, thanks for that.
Just to experience that.
I'm glad to know that we actually had some chemistry over the years, and despite program directors going, "I mean, just stick any two guys together and that'll work." It's like, not so much. Mm-hmm. I think not so much.
Boy, that last one really was shit, wasn't he? God. Jesse, anything you need to plug? What's when are you going to get my unemployment insurance?
Me and the Gout are going to be on Thursday.
It's the new Gout series. Gout Part 5.
Popping right along. No, we've got some stuff coming for like the next 4 Thursdays. We've got some really good stuff coming on. We're going to sprinkle it with some other stuff along the way.
Some not so good stuff, but the good stuff's on Thursdays.
Yeah. Only.
I think you're right.
If you want some mediocre stuff, tune in on Tuesday. Yeah. The good stuff is on Thursday.
And you know this too. The stuff that you plan is the stuff that you don't plan always turns out great. So yes, yep. Tuesdays will end up much better than Thursdays anyway, because you're shooting from the hip and you're kind of going with the gut. So
right. Yeah. As long as you got a good gut to go from, which you do, Jesse.
Yeah, Terry, a big one.
Anything you want to just give us a quick tour of the Holloman Museum, or
probably not this time, man.
Oh, okay.
We're under construction.
Oh, okay.
We're actually under deconstruction. I had my daughter's graduation party here yesterday, by the way. Cool. And we social distance. We lucked up, dude. I'm just gonna tell you this real quick before we get out of here. I watched the weather forecast for 10 days in a row, the 10-day forecast, and every day it said it was going to rain on Sunday. Every single one, up until Sunday. And we didn't get a drop of rain. So we got to have everybody stay outside, socially distanced, and it was a fun event. So now I got to break it all down and put everything away today.
Hey man, congratulations! I know you put a lot of effort and love and time into getting your daughter through all her school. So for real, congratulations.
Thank you, Terry. And Terry, you know that I know all that your kid had to go through to get to graduation, where they got.
Yes, you're
right. Hey man,
that's great.
Yep. And so now, and again, so I got my new shirt today, by the way. I got it from Jazzy Jeff, DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Nice.
Basketball course in the summer, got girls there. You remember summertime. But now that means something different for me, because my daughters playing basketball. SPU is coming up.
Oh, congratulations.
Great.
That's awesome.
Congrats,
That's
man.
Awesome.
Throw the box out in the post.
That's
in college.
I love just randomly saying she turned around to see who you beeping at. Like that's just, I think that's one of the greatest line ever.
Have you seen the recent freestyle that they did where GZ Jazzy Jeff is just? Have you seen that video?
No.
It's like an 8-minute freestyle that Will Smith did maybe 6 months, a year ago. It's good. It's really good.
It on TV? Was it on like some show where they were all on a panel?
No, this is in like a warehouse. It's on YouTube. It's really good.
I'll look at
it. I'll Google that.
Yeah, Google that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Come back anytime. And Terry, we'll do this again next Monday, 6 p.m.
Always looking forward to it. Thank you, guys. Good to see you.
Got it.
See you, buddy.
See you.